Hi everyone, yeah, we're looking at another collection of Gothic romance paperbacks. I can't believe I've been making this many videos, but I do keep buying them. Um, First of all, let's have a look at some new Dorothy Eden paperbacks that I've got, which match the earlier ones. So I'm trying to collect all the ones in the Ace edition. This is the later Ace copies, where they try to use a similar style for all of them. The three new ones I've got are The Night of the Letter, which is a girl in bed. The Pretty Ones, which is not a great illustration. That's not a great house. Nobody would build a house like that. A fading portrait, that's called The Pretty Ones. And Sleep in the Woods, which is a very dull cover of someone in the woods with a man, no house. Yeah, so I'm gonna sneeze. Excuse me. I really only bought these because they match the others. These are very, not very Gothic. This is more like a historical romance. But I mean, that's not Dorothy Eden's fault. She wrote books. She wrote the books she wanted, but Ace have dressed them up as Gothics and they do match. So as part of the set that I've been collecting, I'm quite pleased with those. Now, another set that I would quite like to get more is Fog Island by Marilyn Ross, who is W.E.D. Ross. These are all published by different book publishers. So some of them are on paperback library queen size Gothic. This is a nice one. This is Fog Island Horror. That cover illustration is also used on Children of Houndstooth, also by a popular library. So if you like that picture, you can get it twice on two different books. That house has been used before on Gothic covers. The painting's quite nice. This is not a great condition copy, but I'm happy with it. Fog Island Secret was another one. I may have shown some of these before. I'm starting to forget. The house on that is quite a long way away, but she's looking rather scared and being splashed by waves. I know I've shown this before. This is Dark Towers of Fog Island. So that brings me up to 3 Fog Islands, and there's about 7, I think. So that's the new Fog Islands. Here's a nice one. Demons of High Point House by Kathy Cunningham. This is a beautiful illustration. They've gone true Hammer Horror Gothic with bats in the background there. Bats flying over a castle, and she's in a forest of fir trees by the looks of it. So that's a good cover. This can be quite expensive online. I think whenever there's mention of satanics or occult, which this one does cover, they are more collectible. But that's not a bad condition copy. So I'm quite pleased with that one. A few more. This is not a great cover. This is a Gothic windmill, which makes a change. I think there is a light on in the windmill. Good, you got your point. But a windmill is a bit odd. This is Nightmare in July by Clara Coleman. I haven't read it yet. I presume it's about windmills. You really can't tell with these books. This has been released with a different cover by Ace. So who knows if there's a windmill, or even if it's even set in July. We may never know. But I'll eventually get around to reading that one. This one is a great cover. The Weeping Tower by Christine Randall. Has a lovely painting of a tower with a lighted window, with an evil man and a worried heroine. I should know this artist by now. It might be George Zale or Zale. I don't know how to say his name. He's very good at these atmospheric, romantic Gothic covers. So that's paperback library. They often do George Zale covers, and they're also very thin. They're very thin books, paperback library. But that could be fun. Christine Randall. This is George Zeal or Zyle as well. Her hair's all over her face this time. The Dark Summer by Nancy Buckingham. Another house. Quite a nice illustration. I think this one. Oh no, it was this one. I just wanted to let you know that The Weeping Tower is a truly terrible book. Yeah, someone is impersonating. It really annoyed me because the basic story was it was a lie. Yeah, the story is told from the first person, and it ends up that they've been lying throughout the whole story. So that's cheating if you write a book like that, in my view. Anyway, we'll move those to the side. This is one I recently got in the British Coronet Gothics. It doesn't say Coronet Gothic, but they use the same font as the others. This is called Dark Masquerade by Patricia Maxwell. It's not very Gothic. I mean, yeah, it's night time and there's a house, but I'm starting to buy. I only bought it because it matched the set of the other Coronet Gothics that I've been buying. Otherwise, I would have just walked past that in the shop. I wouldn't have bought that. But I like a set, so it was picked up. I've got about 7 or 8 of those Gothic Coronet ones now. This one I'm very happy with. This is Avon, Winds of Terror by Patricia Hagen Howell. First thing to say about Avon books is they're hardly ever in good condition, but this one is fantastic, and the cover is great. She's running away from a mausoleum. There is a house in the distance. I don't think that's a light, I think that's a bit of damage. That woman in that dress I've seen before. I think that pose shows on These Subtle Weeds, but that model in that pose has been reused. But I haven't seen a mausoleum on many books. I know I've seen it on a couple, but altogether that makes a very nice cover, Winds of Terror. So pleased with that. Then I've got a new Clarissa Ross. Not thrilled about this one. I think oh god, I might have showed it before. Sorry if I have. Out of the Fog by Clarissa Ross. Stormy bay with a castle. She looks rather. She doesn't look very scared. She's got one of her gloves on and one off. That's from Magnum. They did a lot of Clarissa Ross. I think everybody published a lot of Clarissa Ross. He was very prolific, that author. And here's another. This one is larger type. Is it Magnum or Lancer? Lancer. That L is for Lancer. Shadow on the Sun by Sharon Wagner. Very large font for the wording. The house is not bad. There's a price stamped on there. She's kind of writhing around or dancing. The house is not bad. Funny dimensions there, but that's a nice one. But the title is huge. It's fairly fat, nice condition actually. Yeah, that's Lancer, so good for them. And then we've got some Virginia Kaufman. This one you can get with different covers. I quite like this one. It's a tower that is morphing into a cat's head on the top of it. That's really odd. I don't know what I haven't read it yet, but I presume there's a cat involved. Virginia Kaufman normally writes, you know, to a fairly high standard. She's a respected author. But what a strange cover, a really tall, skinny house with half a cat head on the top. Someone spilt their ink on the back of that one. It's a shame this doesn't match my other Virginia Kaufmans. As you can see, I've got several, but look, they don't come in a set series. You've got this black font style, you've got this full bleed cover style, and then you've got this large name and then typeface. I actually replaced this one, this Curse of the Island Pool. I used to have it in that style, but I decided I preferred this style, so I have 3 of these. You've seen these before. 3 of these in that font, 1 of them with that design, and 1 of them with that design. I would like to get them all the same, but you can't always get what you want. And finally, here's one called This House is Dark. This is Popular Library, but they've stopped calling it queen size, but they did use a very Gothic style. In fact, do you remember I said on an earlier book that house has been used before? I've got an example of it right here. There you go. It's got a square tower and a round tower and a porch. So that, I don't know if that's a real house, it might be. That's not a bad cover. Wow, what a cape. My God. Should have blown off a cliff with that. Yeah, that was okay. That was about a theatre actually. That wasn't bad. It's about a weird family setting up a show in an old ramshackle theatre. I quite enjoyed that. Okay, that's it for now.